beginners, let's stop and let's belly up to the bar today. Let's practice some rudimentary bar chord skills. Here we go. Hey everyone, Paul Zagorski here, PZ Guitar, your virtual practice partner. A video just got released last week in which I required the user to use some bar chords. And so that's a little bit advanced for beginners here. And so I had some comments saying, hey, you know, can you help us out here? So today we're going to do some fundamental bar chord skills. I'm also putting together a little bar chord theory and / music theory, some rudimentary, elementary, basic music theory class as well, some slides and with some examples. But right now we're just going to practice some bar chord skills. So, bar chords. What is a bar chord? Well, for example, let's take a look at the E chord, open E. Open E is open, 2, 2, 1, open, open. That is an open E chord. What's important about this E chord is the shape of these three fingers with relationship to the nut. You know, on the A string I'm 2 frets away, on the D string I'm 2 frets away, on the G string I'm 1 fret away. Well, a bar chord is where I use a finger, generally your index finger, and I now place them across all 6 strings, or across 5 strings, or across 4 strings. But I lay them across the fretboard, and I am now replacing the nut, which is fixed at this point. I'm going to move it to this point, or I'm going to move it to this point, or to this point, or way up here. But in this particular case, I want to make, let's just say, an F chord. An F chord is sometimes the bane of beginners and even some low-level intermediates because it requires a bar chord. Even though in a lot of my practice sessions, I give you an F major 7, a beautiful alternative, which is all open chords, which is an open chord. But here, let's look at what an F chord is. Well, an F chord is just like an E chord, except it's moved up 1 fret closer to the bridge. Well, how do I do that? Well, in order to play the E chord, I have to have this shape. But what I need to do for E bar chord shapes is I have to change the fingers. I have to change the fingering. I don't have to change my fingers. But instead of using the middle, ring, and index, I'm going to use my ring, my pinky, and my middle to do the 2, 2, 1. Listen to this. That's an E. And here it was before. Exactly the same. It makes no difference. Your guitar is agnostic as to which fingers you use to fret the notes. But now, my index finger is free to move about and do things. So if I were to now move this shape, keeping the same shape, and I move it up 1 fret, and I now place my finger down, I now have an F chord. If I move it up to the 3rd fret, if I move my index finger up to the 3rd fret, that's a G. Why? Because E, F, G. If I move it up to the 5th fret, it's an A. But let's practice the bar. We have to get this bar down pat. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick the 1st fret. And all we're going to do is we're just going to lay our finger down across all 6 strings. And we're going to pluck these out nice and slow. Nice and clean. Up, you see? Not enough pressure on my B string. So in order to get proper pressure, I'm going to turn this around here a little bit. Let's see if we can do this. My bar finger and my thumb are directly behind each other. So that way I'm squeezing and I'm putting as much pressure onto that 1st fret as I need to make everything ring clean. Nope. Better. Let's move it up to the 3rd fret. Good. Now let's slide it to the 5th fret. Good. Now let's pick it off and put it back on the 2nd fret. Making sure that your thumb is in line with your barred finger. That way you can get the most leverage. So our drill is just going to be, take your finger on the 2nd fret, we'll say, take your finger on, put it on, take it off. Strum it slowly. Make sure everything rings out cool. If you want to go up higher, you want to go up to the 7th fret. Cool. You want to go back down to 5, but nice and slow. Take your finger off, give your finger a rest. You can see I'm getting, hopefully the camera will grab that. But yeah, it's going to hurt. You know, you're digging into your fingers here. So practice this a little bit all the time. So the drill is on and off. If something buzzes or something sounds dead, look at it, adjust. This is an acquired skill. 6-string bar chords are not the only game in town. There's also bar chords based on 5 strings, that's based on the A string. For example, a B. Well, first off, let's take a look at the shape for the other shape that's very, very important. We talked about the E shape. We talked about this shape. Let's talk about the A shape, the open A chord. An open A chord is I have to occupy the D, G, and the B string. I have to occupy the 2nd fret. That gets crowded in there. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. Index, middle, ring. Okay, you can do middle, ring, pinky. Okay, you can do what I like to do is I do middle, index, ring. There's also another way, and I call it the mini bar. You know, this is not like in a hotel where they charge exorbitant rates. The mini bar is I'm going to use my ring finger, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to bar 3 strings with this one finger, and I'm going to do that by I'm going to invert. I hope you can see that. I'm going to invert this finger so it gets flattened. You know, after the knuckle, between the knuckle and the tip, it gets flat. So I'm going to now go to here. I'm going to flatten these three strings. Let's go back and let's compare it. So that is one way you can, that is an advanced, that should be practiced by itself. If you want to do this major A shape like so, take it on, put it off. Try not to mute the A string with the tip of your finger. So otherwise, in order to have your bar chording finger free, you're probably either going to use the mini bar technique, or you're probably going to do a pinky, middle, and ring. So now if I wanted to make a B major chord, I need to make the fret, or I need to make the nut virtually at the 2nd fret and keep everything else relative, and so I would do this. That's a B chord. I prefer that, but let's get back to the rudimentary practice. The rudimentary practice here is practicing using this finger as a movable human nut, so to speak. Yes, I know there's a lot of jokes about that. Yes, I get it. I know. I'm biting my lip from making my own here, but nevertheless, what we did for 6 strings, we laid our index finger across all the strings, but this time we're going to just mute the low E string, but we're going to fret now the others. So that's the key here, is muting the 6th string, because generally that 6th string is not part of a A-shaped bar chord. Did not mute the E string, so I got to move my tip up here a little bit. There it is. Okay, so that's the basic practice here. So we're going to now do this slightly, we're going to take this to the next level, as they say, and we're going to go from a 6-string bar to a 5-string bar and back to a 6. And so let's do it on the same fret. Let's do it on the fret number 3. 6-string bar, and do it nice and slow. And now do it 5-string bar. Let's go up to onto the 5th string. 6-string bar on 5. 5 on 5. 6 on 5. And 5 on 5. Let's go down to the 1st fret. Do that 10 or 15 times. And that's it for that day. Otherwise, you will just ruin your finger, which is mine is it's like it looks like a map right now. So that's the fundamental practice. Stay tuned for excuse me. Stay tuned for some theory classes that I'm putting together. That is going to go into a little bit more in depth about the E shape and the A shape and the relationship to the fretboard and its relationship to the C major scale and the notes on this fretboard. So stick around. I'll see you soon, but keep practicing. This is a new thing. So maybe you might be able to play a little bit of Iggy Pop. Yeah, it could be better, but I think you get the idea. Keep practicing. I'll see you soon.